Good morning, boys and girls. We are now on day 3 of your week 6 packet. And here's the directions for the first task. It says, under each branch of the tree map, write the elements of the narrative story. This still goes with Adventure in Bear Valley, the little book that we read. And when it says the elements of the narrative story, it's talking about this. The elements of a narrative, if you remember, would be characters, the setting, the problem. A good narrative has to have a really strong problem or clear problem or conflict, and then the attempts to solve the problem, the things that the characters tried to solve that one problem, and then the final solution. Okay, so I am going to give you a few examples. For example, when it says characters, it's talking about the people in the story. And so, for example, we can do bullet points. And I remember that one of the characters or people in the story was Jess. Okay, one of the siblings. There are three more characters. Okay, so you go ahead and list the rest of the characters in that one story. The setting, when it's talking about the setting, it is mainly talking about where. Okay, where is this happening? Okay, so for that one, I am going to let you go back if you don't remember, and then find out where the story is taking place. Where is it happening? And you list it in there, okay? Part of the setting could also be the season of the year, okay? The season. Was it winter? Was it the summer? Was it the fall? So go ahead and go back and find that out, and then you want to list it in there. It could also be the time. Could be like the time of the day. If it's mainly taking place at a certain time of the day, you could put that in there as well. Okay. When it says a problem, that would be the main conflict that the characters are facing in the story. Okay, so go ahead and go back and find the main thing that would be the main issue, the main problem that the characters face, and that they have to solve that they have to work together to solve. Okay, I remember there were some wild animals involved, so that's as much as I am going to say. So you go ahead and find it and you list it in there. Problem, or we also used to call it the conflict. Okay. The attempts means like the different things that the characters tried. Okay, the different things that they tried to solve the conflict or the problem, to get out of that problem that they were into. Okay, so I am going to say, I'm going to put here what they tried to solve the problem. All right. And then the last one is very simple. It's just the solution. So how did they solve the problem? How did they get out of that trouble that they were into? Okay, so you go ahead and list all of those in there, and that's all that you have to do for that one task. Again, you may do bullet points right there. It doesn't have to be complete sentences. It's a tree map, so you can just do bullet points. The next task, let's read the directions. It says, create a flow map. And so as you can see, this is a flow map. Create a flow map using sentences. So in this one, you do have to use complete sentences. Using sentences to tell the sequence of the story. When it says the sequence of the story, it's talking about the order of the events. What happened first? What happened next? What happened later? And so on, and what happened at the end. That's what it means when it says to tell the sequence of the story. And then it says, if you need more boxes, continue your map by making boxes in the next page. They give you an extra page, okay? In case, I know that some of us write big, so in case you need more room, you may use that extra page. And so again, in each box, for example, I am going to put here the word first. I'm going to say first of all, because we say first in first or second grade. So first of all, and then you tell us what happened at the beginning of the story. You may also use that one phrase at the beginning of the story. Here, you could say later on, as time went by, okay, and then you could also say the next thing that happened. Okay, and then you tell us what happened. So you're just gonna fill in the blanks here, okay, with complete sentences to tell what happened first, later on, next. You could also say, I don't know, the next day, if it fits. Otherwise, you may use another phrase. At the end of the story. And then you tell us what happened at the end of the story. And again, if you need more room, you may go ahead and complete your work here in the next page. Okay? And so that would be the second task for day 3. You're just telling or retelling the events in the story as they happened, first, next, and so on. Okay, so we have another task here, and I want you to notice how the title says discussion and reflection. So this one, you're going to be discussing with a family member. It could be with your siblings, one of your siblings. It could be with mom, dad, your aunt, your uncle. It says, step 1, have a brief or short, okay, have a brief discussion with a family member or a friend about a question listed below. So here's a question that you're going to be discussing about. And then it says, use the speaking frames. And these are the speaking frames right here. Okay. And take notes right here about your conversation in the space provided. Okay, so you're going to use this question right here to talk with a family member or a friend about it. Okay, and then you may use, once you talk with them, or as you talk with them, you may use these frames, and you're also taking notes, because then later on you're going to use this to write about it. Okay, and so the question says, is there a time that you were very frightened or very scared? I'm gonna write here, scared. Is there a time that you were very scared or frightened? What did you do to help you through your fear? Did it work? Why or why not? So as you can notice, this is connected to the experiences of the characters in the story. Okay, now it is your turn to tell of a time when you were also really scared. Okay, just as the main characters in the story. Okay, and so again, you may use those frames. A time I was terribly frightened was when I don't know, when I had to take some, I'm just not going to give you that example. A time when I was, for example, if I were to do this, I would say a time when I was terribly, terribly frightened was when I had to give my first speech in college. Okay, I was really nervous. I was really scared. I was frightened, or I was scared when it was my turn to go up in the front of the room and give my presentation. And then I would say, one step I took to overcome my fear was that I try to think positive thoughts, and I try to calm myself down, and I tried to remember what I had practiced at home. I began to blank to help me face my fear. So I began to have a little more confidence in myself to help face my fear. I knew that I had practiced, and so I knew that everything would be okay. And then it says the last one, the step I took to overcome my fear were not helpful because, so I would say the steps that I took to overcome my fear were helpful because they helped me in future presentations that I had to give. And after some time, I stopped feeling as nervous. I still feel nervous, but not as nervous as that one first time, okay? And so you could be taking notes. For example, if I were doing this, I would say, when I was really scared, and it was when I gave my first speech or presentation at college. Sorry. At college, I would say that. And then here you could say your steps, positive thoughts, I said. And then I also practiced. I also practiced and tried to remember how I practiced. So I would say here, practiced ahead of time, of course, and remembered what I practiced. See, so these are my notes as I have the conversation, okay, with my family members, and then I would continue on with the rest of the ideas that I am discussing with that family member or friend. Okay. So that would be that one task, and then the last one for day 3 is you are going to take that discussion. You're going to take it into writing. It says here, written response, okay? And so as you can see, this is the second step. It says, write about the conversation that you had with your family member or your friend. Tell how the conversation went. And then it's just a reminder here that a good paragraph includes a topic sentence that details from the conversation, a conclusion, precise language, and then strong use of conventions that just means spelling, capitalization, punctuation, and good grammar, okay? So you could say, like, for example, if I were to write this, I would begin by saying, my daughter, I would say, my daughter and I had a conversation. Okay, a conversation about a time when I was very frightened. Okay, and that would be my topic sentence because this is about that one conversation, and then I would go on. And so now my reader will want to know, okay, so when was that time when you were really frightened? Okay, give us more detail from your conversation. And so then I would tell a time when I was frightened was when I gave my first college speech. Okay, and then the rest of my paragraph would say the things that I did or the steps that I took to overcome my fear. Okay, when I was going to give my first college speech, which I have in here. Okay, it would be all of these. And so that's exactly what you would be doing for this one written assignment. And that's it. That would be it for day 3.